In my workshop I have a main compressor used for tools and various other things, but there are occasions when sometimes I don't require the noise and the volume needed of the main compressor, especially if I'm just going to blow out the carburetor or something simple. So under the bench for many years I've had a silent compressor using a fridge or freezer motor compressor, which is what they are, of course. And inside there's a motor and a little mechanical compressor. Quite ingenious, really. And I've used these, and they don't give a great deal of volume, of course, but they do give quite a pressure. And this one comes from a fridge freezer, quite a tallish one, which meant it was quite a decent sized unit. And it was advertised on eBay. The person wanted to get rid of it. It was 99p, buy it now. Crafty devils. Anyway, I got what I wanted and I was happy to pay 99p for this one. And I'm going to replace the one that's been under the bench for many years, which did give up the ghost. Now, a lot of fridges, even modern ones, contain nasty gases, CFCs, and the ozone layer has got a big hole in it, so please don't make the hole any bigger. I'm not doing the tree hugger bit, but I try and make my impact on the environment as least as possible. So if you can't find one that's naturally lost its gas, or come by one that's been decommissioned and degassed properly, at least minimalise the amount of damage you're going to do. One time, to my shame, I used to hack through the copper pipes with a hacksaw, and of course you're releasing all these CFCs into the atmosphere. But I found a better way is to use a pair of bolt croppers. And if instead of cutting right through the copper pipe, if you sort of nip it up in 2 or 3 places without cutting through, you soon know if it's about to cut through. And then cut inside those squashed up parts, at least you've retained quite a percentage of the CFCs within the condenser and the rest of the plumbing of the fridge or freezer. Okay, if you're going to use one of these, retain all the capacitors and start gear with the compressor. They have internally a couple of windings, a start winding and a run winding, and there's various means of momentarily using the start winding, which, well, I won't go into here, but it can be a little bit complicated. So simply retain all the relays, all the wiring that you had with your original fridge. It saves an awful lot of work. I might explain on that perhaps another time if really asked, but I shall end up with lots of why questions. Anyway, as I say, they don't give out a great deal of volume, as I've said, but they do give out quite a pressure. And they're quiet. And that's the outlet pipe, this one, where you can hear there's quite a pressure there. And I've tried it with a gauge and we've gone up to about 150 before my rubber hoses drop off or pop off. And see, this is going on top of a small tank which has a cut off of about 100, 110. We'll never reach that level, and it will happily maintain itself under the bench for those simple air requirements that I might have from time to time. So that's a use of old fridge and freezers compressors. All I've got to do now is pop down the dump and dispose of the carcass. But at least I've saved the cable and I've saved the plug, and I took the bulb out in case I should want to spare one. More on this later. Well, it's later on in the day, and as you can see, I've mounted the compressor on top of the tank, just temporarily welded or tack welded it. I've taken the easy way out. I don't believe in making work for myself. And I've rearranged various fittings from the scrap box. The tank I had and the cut-out box, I've reduced it to about 75 psi roughly. Way down below the level of the test pressure. Test pressure of this tank is 500 or 600 pounds, I believe. So we're way in the safety region. These little gauges, the guy had a box full of those, 50p each, brand new. And like an idiot, I only bought 6. Never mind. This little auxiliary one here, this is a little regulator. It's actually a beer regulator for the CO2 lines. I'm going to use that for a very low pressure touch-up spray gun, and I can regulate the pressure there with that. And then I've permanently got, pan back, permanently got a gun fitted. I think it's good enough for cleaning out carburetors and the like. When the pressure gets low enough, it'll cut in. There we go, we've just cut in and we're going to come up again. There's a safety valve, 100 psi safety valve in the tank anyway, so as I say, we're way within safety practices. I'll up that pressure a bit when I've gone to town and got some decent Jubilee clips for the cables, but that can go underneath the bench, and for small jobs it's absolutely fine. Would be no good for sort of power tools, sanders and disc sanders and so forth, or it wouldn't last long because of the size of the tank. But for what I wanted to do with it, it's absolutely ideal. I've taken the carcass down the dump, that's no problem, and all in all 50p for the gauge, 99p for the compressor top, £1.40 it's cost me. So I'm rather pleased with that. So there's something for you to think on old fridges and freezers. Just remind you about the CFCs, please bear that in mind. You can get these, the compressors, just the compressors, needn't come off a fridge. If you don't mind paying a bit more, at least you'll have a better conscience. Okay, just a quick little one, thought you'd like it. Bye for now. Well, this is just a little tag on the end. I checked for leaks with some soapy water and a brush, and for 3 days now she's been perfectly fine, cutting in and out. As I say, no leaks. I don't leave it running all night long, but should I use it during the day? Very rarely comes on unless I use air. And there it is, sitting underneath the little grinder bench next door to the pillar drill. So all in all, did I say I'm very pleased?